There were 2 more murders 15 miles away.
When police arrived, they found his telephones and electricity lines.
We have a weird homicide.
A scene described by one investigator as reminiscent of a weird...
Murder. No one expects great evil from children. We think of them as undamaged souls incapable of the same depravities adults commit. But deep down, we know this isn't always the case. On May 30th, 2007, a young boy was arrested in India and charged for crimes that, prior to getting caught, no one had any idea were ever even committed. So if you like your coffee hot but your bones chilled, sit back and start your day with a morning cup of murder. Amardeep Sada was born in 1998 to an impoverished Indian couple in Begusaraia, Bihar, India, an area tough on children and families. His father worked hard as a laborer to try and support his family, but as years passed, the town that they lived in grew worse and worse, eventually being labeled as one of India's poorest states. Despite his family's hardships, Amardeep seemed to be a relatively normal child. That was until he reached 7 years old, and his family welcomed a new baby girl into the family. Something about her presence turned the normal child into a sadistic monster in need of a dark outlet. On a day in 2007, a woman named Chun Devi left her 6-month-old daughter, Khushbu, asleep in her village primary school. When she returned to collect her baby, Khushbu was nowhere to be found. Somehow her disappearance was traced back to Amardeep, who, when confronted, not only confessed to the murder, but led them to the place where he concealed her body in a shallow grave. She had been strangled to death and beaten with a brick. Amardeep was arrested on May 30th, 2007, and, when placed into custody, started speaking with police about crimes that they had no idea had even occurred. Crimes that would label him India's youngest serial killer. A little over a year before the murder and abduction of Khushbu, Amardeep traveled to his maternal uncle's home where, as the family caught up, he snuck off to get a look at his new little cousin. Something inside him snapped, and he picked up the 6-month-old, wrapped his hands around its tiny neck, and squeezed. When he was finished, he walked back into the room and acted as if nothing had happened. Some time passed before he found his next victim, and this time, it was someone in his own home. His 8-month-old sister. No one in his family really knew why he took the lives of both babies. Some speculated mental illness, while others thought it was simply jealousy. But because this was a family matter, they felt that they should deal with it on their own and brush the whole thing under the rug as if nothing had happened, failing to even report the crime to police, which left him free to wander and look for a new victim. While outside wandering, Amardeep made his way to the primary school where he found a sleeping Khushbu. Because of his age, none of the adults in charge of the school thought any of the children were in danger. As Amardeep relayed his crimes to police in detail, he smiled, laughed, and asked for some cookies. Police were shocked when they heard the 8-year-old's confession, unaware such evil could develop at such a young age. The young boy was charged with 3 counts of murder, and in the aftermath of his arrest, was diagnosed with conduct disorder, a chemical imbalance wherein a patient feels gratification after inflicting injury on others. Meaning he needed immediate medical attention that, unfortunately, his family just could not afford. And under Indian law, Amardeep was much too young to be punished for his crimes. So the court had no other option but to send him to a mandatory 3 years in a psychiatric facility, and, after, a remand home in a nearby town until he reached the age of 18. At that point, Amardeep Sada would be a free man. Thank you for joining me in my morning cup of murder. Please join me again tomorrow to hear a terrible thing happened on May 31st. Don't forget to rate and subscribe and let me know how you like it. If you want to help support the podcast, there is always Patreon or just sharing it with your true crime obsessed friends. And remember, stay safe.